a lot of the time. And that's where a lot of the bonding goes. Personally, I think you're missing out on a lot if you leave your dog tied up outside, and you only go out to water or feed or pet them occasionally. These guys really thrive on attention, and imagine if you were just tied up outside or left in the basement and only given food and water. It wouldn't be a very fulfilling type of existence. And you don't know what you're going to get back out of a relationship with a dog. So consider, your lifestyle and research the breeds and see what kind of breeds are conducive to somebody with your lifestyle. Like I said, activity levels. If you want a lazy dog or a dumb dog, there are ones that you can get that are more lazy and then there's some that are more high energy, like a Jack Russell, or ones that like to hunt. The little brown dog that was on one of my pictures, he's more of a hunting dog. He's not a lap dog. So if you want a lap dog, that's one thing. If you want a hunting dog or a working dog, that's another. One other thing you would consider, or in raising the dog, is making sure that you're the head of the pack. You have to make sure that the dog knows that you are the head of the household and he's not head of the household. Okay, Tom has joined us.
At long last. I decided to go sightseeing.
Okay.
I was driving down the street and I went, squirrel!
Yeah.
And I went the other direction. So I've seen some beautiful ridgelines and no dogs, fortunately. As I was traveling along, no dogs in the road. Yeah,
okay.
So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for doing a great job there.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
So what I've covered was the dogs that I have.
Yeah, beautiful animals.
Considering the dogs that you would like to own as far as lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
The benefits.
So important that it fits.
Right.
Right dog with the right people at the right time, yeah.
Some of the benefits of having a dog, these guys help me get out and walk because they're somewhat persistent. It's like, let's go.
Come on. Yeah.
So they're the ones that get me off the couch.
There we go. Yeah.
So that helps me with that, and the companionship is next to nothing.
I agree.
We have a wonderful relationship.
I understand that. Yeah, I would have brought my dog if I could have, but then he would have been lost with me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, thank you.
Just scoot over a little bit.
Scoot over.
There.
Am I here?
No, just a little bit.
Closer?
No, that way a little bit.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Thanks. All right.
We didn't have enough time to adjust the camera.
No, we're good.
You want to tilt up on that camera there?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah.
See your head's chopped
Yeah, I know.
off
Yeah.
there.
We can see the bald spot. If we try. There.
That's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So what did you have planned to cover today?
What I'd planned to cover, I'm going to do it without slides, which is better. Slides are often boring. So anyway, pet dogs and human health benefits. I'm Tom Heiskell. I'm a graduate of Karen Pryor Academy for animal training. I have a PhD in clinical psychology from Purdue. I'll be starting a dog business in Portsmouth. I think of it as more dog education. I agree with Mike as far as leadership. You have to have, dogs are essentially perpetual adolescents. And so they have to have that family leadership. There has to be guidance for them, or they're going to be doing what they do.
That seems to be a bigger problem with, I think, smaller dogs. You get the Chihuahuas or the little fuzzy guys that like to sit on your lap. And I'm not sure if it's a female thing or both, but I see a lot of women that treat their dogs as little babies and just, I don't know, care for its every whim.
Yeah.
And it leads them around.
Yeah.
So then it thinks it has to be the protector.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in the lead role,
Yeah.
which is upside down. So
Yeah.
with anyone that visits the person,
The
now becomes a threat.
Yeah, it becomes difficult when they're visitors. It's okay
Right.
when it's just mom or whoever. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. All of us have that line. I mean, as we're essentially parent figures for our dogs, and we want them to, have enjoyable lives and all that sort of stuff. At the same time, they do need guidance. Without those guidelines, without us showing them how to succeed, how to get along with others as well, they become limited as to the situations that they can fit into. And I have a little quote on here. The title, I have a little quote from Groucho Marx, kind of fits what we're talking about. It's, outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read.
Oh.
Groucho Marx. Anyway, so with dogs, our shared lives and how, I think to me it's fascinating how we got so closely linked, because we have a relationship with them that isn't generally equaled by any other species on in the world. So dogs have been with us as dogs for at least 15,000 years, probably more. How'd that come about, and how does that affect us in our relationships and even our health? Well, to me, the beginning of the story is fascinating, because likely what happened is that pre-dogs, wolves and dogs came from the same stock.
Okay.
Probably separated over 100,000 years ago, genetically. But whenever pre-dogs started hanging around our campsites, they could eat our dogs are scavengers.
Sure.
They ate our garbage. That's why they stayed around. And the less fearful dogs were more successful. Less fearful proto-dogs, wolves at that point, or the common ancestor of those two, were more successful. They had more puppies. Those were the less fearful animals.
The more social, the ones that give you the big eyes, like, oh, come on, you want me to have that.
And that's kind of how they developed. That's where it started. It became first, you have animals that have a lower flight distance. So the common ancestor of dogs and wolves, most of them are the wolves are fearful by nature. And so the general group of wolves would back off. When we came up to our garbage piles, the other wolves that were less fearful hung around, and the ones that didn't snarl at us and so forth, we didn't kill. And so more social animals, ones that were less fearful, were the ones that survived.
I think it's interesting that if you're prescribing to the thought that they all came from a common ancestor, how do you get a dog, Chihuahua and Mastiff?
Yeah.
Do they all come from the same place?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just...
There's something genetically about them. There are not that many genes that determine coat type, height, configuration, and all those kinds of things. They have slippery genes, and so it's relatively easy to breed for certain characteristics and get those magnified characteristics.
Right.
So the breeds that we see occurred in the last couple hundred years. Started kind of in England when people had a lot of money and dogs became status symbols. So they had the cute this or the big that or something.
And all that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was sort of, before that, dogs were working dogs. Right. Basically.
I have a problem and I need one to herd, chase away, or eat the things that are eating my crops.
Help me hunt, protect
my crops or animals and all that.
So even today, dogs and gray wolves share 99.7 or 99.8% of their DNA. Those two are subspecies. Canis lupus is the gray wolf. Canis familiaris is the dog. They can interbreed. They are, in that sense, the same animal group.
Right.
that small difference, that 2/10 of 1% or 3/10 of 1% of the genetic difference occurs in the social and emotional areas. So they do end up being different animals.
Right.
Although
and you do probably have to be careful. I know people that think possibly wild animals, wolves or whatever, might be a good pet.
Yeah.
But I think, as far as the nature-nurture thing,
Yeah.
there's still a lot
There's
of
still
nature
nature, right?
in there.
Yeah. There are exceptions to every rule, but in general, from what I've read and heard from people, is that a wolf will remain a wolf, and we'll get into some of those social differences there that affect our health. What dogs and wolves and us all have in common is that we are social creatures, social animals. We hunt cooperatively in packs. We share family units with the heads of those units at the smallest level being the breeding pair or the parents. And also in those smallest, that group are the siblings, infants, relatives, and sometimes a member from another unit that becomes part of the family one way or the other. In the sense that, the head of the family are the parents, and they are alpha and so forth. They provide leadership the same way the heads of a group of wolves are the alpha pair. That means they're the breeding pair. They lead by in a parental educative kind of way.
And that doesn't mean that you have to be an alpha personality.
No.
You just have to be the leader.
You show leadership, you show them how to succeed, you show them, hey, no, this really isn't going to work. We're not going that direction. We'll go this way, and by gosh, that worked for you.
Show them the benefits of that direction.
Exactly. And so we get this back and forth between us as really communicating socially as a group.
Just like, I've got treats and food and snacks around the house. They don't try and get it because I give them plenty and there's nothing to ask for. They know they're going to get it at the right time.
Yeah, and probably if they probably haven't practiced a lot of behavior in terms of scavenging off the countertops and stuff like that.
Well, if something falls off the counter when they're cooking, they're getting it.
That's fair game. that's fair game. That's part of the benefit.
That's the game.
Yeah. On top of here, it's off limits. Down there, it's like okay.
Right.
Yeah. And these animals that became dogs learn to read us emotionally. And what is really fascinating, there's only one other, I'm going to say animal, on the face of the earth that preferentially looks at the right side of our faces. The right side of our face is controlled by our left hemisphere, and the right side of our face is the most accurate reflector of our emotional state. Dogs scan if you look at your dog and you look at where your dog's looking, your dog shows a preference for looking over at this side of your face. And when you watch someone else, you'll notice that by and large they have a gaze to their left, to the right side of your face. And dogs only do that with people, and only other people do that with other people. No other creature on the face of the earth does that. Chimpanzees, wolves don't. Even people who have raised wolves as pups, given every advantage that they possibly could, don't get that sort of thing going on. And then as these dogs became dogs, some things happened with them physically. The frontal lobes, the part of the area of the brain that makes decisions and is part of problem solving, actually in them got smaller. And the reason that has to do with leadership. They look to us to help them solve their problems. And wolves, if you raise a wolf from a cub,
sorry,
and you make that as much a part of your group as you can, and that wolf encounters a problem, that wolf will not look back at you and say, what do I do now? When you have a dog, that dog will look back at you and go, what next?
Yeah, I wonder, if I were to leave the house, get into a car accident, and nobody knew that I had dogs at home, and there was like 3 days and they didn't have anything to eat, would they actually get into the food stores? Which they could. They could pull it down.
They have to, probably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at some point.
Yeah, I would hope.
Hunger takes over for all of us. Okay, let's see how we're doing on time. 10. Okay, all right. And also what happened too in us is that our olfactory areas, the areas that process smell, got smaller for us. Okay. Now, dogs are the only other creature on the earth that recognizes the significance of where we're pointing or even where we're looking. So that sort of behavior that they have with each other that's part of hunting behavior becomes part of what they do with us. When you talk about the change, how rapidly change can take place, it's just a sidelight here. If you take wild foxes, some geneticist whose business was raising fox fur, anyway, took some of those foxes and chose the ones that were the least fearful, and within 6 or 7 generations got foxes that were dog-like. They had floppy ears, they had curly tails, they had mottled coats, they barked, and they sought affection from people. And so it was amazing. Anyway, dogs have been so helpful. They're very successful. We've taken them everywhere on Earth, and so we're talking about the benefits socially. And these are scientific studies, and I do believe in science, because without actually checking facts on things, you can end up believing all kinds of stuff that takes you all kinds of places, and some checking out things with reality is important. Socially,
so what, the social benefits of having a dog?
Social benefits, yeah.
It's easier to meet chicks with a dog.
That's true. That's true. that is true.
Sure.
Any of you guys, if you find a friend who has a nice, friendly dog and take the dog for a walk, and there you go.
Right.
Absolutely. That's my second point. They make us more approachable. It's
Right.
true. People are more apt to trust you if you have a dog. Make us more outgoing. These are kind of some studies. Studies show that their companionship is equal to the effect in terms of reducing loneliness and giving a sense of belonging as to that of another human relationship. That's not to say that they take the place of. Generally, people who have animals are, as a rule, as outgoing as other people are, and so those dogs complement us. Dogs process our speech in brain areas that register emotion. And when we look at dogs, the brain areas with which we respond to our children actually respond. Similarly, there's some parts that are missing, obviously. We save some things for our children, but a lot of what we react to emotionally in terms of reward and affiliation lights up and reacts with our dogs. And there's a hormone that has to do with bonding in people, all mammals actually, oxytocin. People call it the love hormone or whatever. It's and when we and our dogs interact, we pet them, we look at them with prolonged eye contact, we both have an escalation of oxytocin. So we're really getting a bonding at a physiological level.
Yeah, my guys do that. I come home and then they just get on top and lean against me and snuggle, and it's disgusting.
It is. It is.
For some people.
For some people, yeah, maybe for them, it's
like,
kind of
oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, right. It's like, just leave us alone, please. We need a moment here. So, anyway, emotionally with our animals, we have a greater sense of self-esteem, well-being, and actually a sense of purpose in life. These are studies. You put someone in a really stressful situation, and you have their pets with them, and these are pets, obviously, with whom you get along.
And people need to be needed.
Yeah, that's right.
And that fulfills that need.
Yeah, and that'll get to a point in terms of surviving serious illness that comes up. When we're in those stressful situations, our stress hormones, stress chemicals are actually lower. We rate the situations as being more manageable. We make fewer errors with stressful tasks when we've got our dogs, and also applies to cats too. I think people can have those other bonds, and
I would love to have my dogs right here.
Right now, I would too.
At work.
Right here.
Right.
It would be great. Okay, and even people with serious illnesses have less depression. People with Alzheimer's have less agitation. Children who are learning to read have less stress chemical reaction. Children with autism, when there's a dog in the house that's suited to their situation, have less stress. Physical benefits. Children who are around dogs in infancy have less allergies. And I mean, this is an increment. It's not like this is a cure or something, but you know, it's a benefit in that way. They help stabilize our blood pressure and our heart rate. And you mentioned getting out. Physically, pet owners who walk their dogs are physically more likely to be fit, simply because we got to get up. The dog says, "Please walk me," and we do.
And actually, that's a real big benefit. You gotta walk your dogs, because if you leave a dog in prolonged inactivity, they get bored, like anybody, and they're going to cause mischief.
Yeah, and then that's not going to be a health benefit.
Right, and then you're going to get angry, and things are going to go
down. Then our blood pressure goes up.
Right.
So walk your dogs.
Walking your dogs is good for you and the dog, and the way that you interact.
Right.
And you leading the dog, it's a bonding time.
They're
pack animals, and walking together is a pack activity, and that's just one of those great things you can do.
It is a great thing. And then walk with some other people and their dogs, you know, if you have the chance. And then we have less doctor visits with our pets. And that's it. There's some resources that are good. Adam McCloskey, Dog Behavior Evolution and Cognition. Alexandra Horowitz, Inside of a Dog, What Dogs See, Smell and Know. Brian Hare and Vanessa Woods, The Genius of Dogs, How Dogs Are Smarter Than You Think, and the Nova series on PBS, Dogs Decoded. I recommend them all.
So, what do you think about people that don't like dogs?
That's okay.
I'm always suspicious of those people.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure probably they're not watching now. But if you are, it's fine with me, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what else you have on your plate and if you've been around dogs.
Not that you want to be a dog owner, but it's like, oh, I just don't like dogs.
Yeah.
Like, what's not to like?
Yeah.
I'm such a dog person that it's hard
for me it is hard. Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, people ask what's my favorite breed. I like them all, except I don't like being yapped at or snarled at, but, you know, but generally all of them. Yeah, I think it's just sort of probably once how long do we have?
About 20 seconds.
20 seconds, all right. There's a very elderly neighbor that's a friend of mine, and she'd never been around dogs, didn't know, she said that, you know, didn't know how to touch them, stuff like that. But anyway, she got used to my dog. She likes them now. She wants them to come down. So, you know, familiarity helps.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching this month's Body Talk. And I'm sure we'll have you back for maybe a different series.
If I can find my way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.